a conservative federal judge appointed by George W. Bush. So he's a Republican judge, and he struck down the Pennsylvania ban on gay marriage within the state, which was prohibiting kind of gay and lesbian couples from getting married within that state. And the judge, John E. Jones III, concluded that we are better people than what these laws represent. It is time to discard them into the ash heap of history. I mean, strong statement there, coming out to try and throw out these decadent and obviously stupid laws. Governor Tom Corbett, who's currently going to be facing a really tough re-election in 2014, he said he came out when the judge made the ruling. He said, no, I'm not going to appeal it because it's probably going to cost him votes, and that's why he's not going to appeal it. And so now Pennsylvania has become the 19th state to allow gay and lesbian couples to marry. The interesting thing about this story was that Rick Santorum didn't say a word about it because he was a former senator for Pennsylvania. He constantly ran, especially when he tried to run in 2012 in the Republican primaries, kind of anti-gay marriage, it's bad, we don't want our kids turning gay, so on and so forth. He appeared on Fox News only a couple minutes after the ruling had been passed. Didn't say a word at all. And probably one of the reasons why he didn't say a word at all, or why he couldn't criticize the ruling, was that since the judge that made the ruling, Rick Santorum had called the judge highly qualified to assume the important role of judge and the duty of protecting the Constitution. He was appointed back in 2002, and that's what Rick Santorum said about him. So he can't criticize a judge that he'd previously praised. And so I think the real question here is that, is this finally, with a state such as Pennsylvania and with politicians such as Rick Santorum kind of shying away from the LGBT issue and the gay marriage issue, it kind of has the tide finally turned and that the Republican Party are now just going to say, okay, we've lost the culture war on this one, let's try and find another issue. Is the gay marriage issue finally over?
I think it is. I think it is over. I don't know if it's over for the Republicans because they're the Republicans, but I think a lot will be told on who they nominate in 2016. If they nominate a candidate, and I hate to be that guy who's talking about 2016, but if they nominate a candidate that is emphasizes, or a Santorum-like candidate who emphasizes the bans on gay marriage or the constitutional amendment in gay marriage, then it's not done for that side. But if they nominate a candidate who may say that they're in favor, because he's a Republican, of traditional marriage, but that's not his big point of emphasis, and he doesn't support that constitutional amendment, then I think they might be ready to hand this one off to the what you call it, to the bend of to history, because this issue's over, man. This is a George Bush appointee. It's a 2002 appointee. I mean, I didn't believe it until you read his name, Jim Jones. Is that it, Jeff?
Yeah. It was, John E. Jones III.
Oh, my bad. John Jones. Still, that's what I'm saying. I didn't believe it until you read that guy's name. But yeah, it's a great sign, and I realize that this isn't the only LGBT issue, but it's good to see progress on this specific issue. And court ruling reaction aside, because we all know that there's a lot of negative reactions to it whenever a court strikes anything down.
I don't know if it's quite over for the Republican Party on this issue. I think there's still just enough hateful people out there for people to throw out as red meat. As we saw earlier with the Florida with the Florida representative attacking Common Core, saying that it's going to turn your kids gay. That's, I mean, you know, you've got the fringe out there that's still going to use these attacks. As far as the mainstream Republican Party, I don't know. I think while it's not over, I think that some people will use that, but the mainstream will. I mean, we've seen this the fracture between the mainstream Republican Party and the Tea Party, and that's going to be along one of the lines where they split and just fragment. The establishment is going to grudgingly go along with it over the next few years. There's still going to be some outliers. There's still going to be people fighting against it. And then there's going to be the crazy nut fringe in the Tea Party that's going to fight it tooth and nail and use that to stir up votes. And in some places, I think they will have wins, but I think in most places, they're going to continue to suffer defeats based on their clinging to this issue in the culture wars. And I just, I don't think it's quite over, but for the most part, it's over.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there, Jeff. It's over certainly on a national scale. You're not going to have a president who's going to be running on a platform against gay marriage. That's not going to be happening. You could still have a Republican winning their primary. I think that's a real issue that's going to be interesting in 2016. And I know Sean doesn't want to be that guy. I love being the 2016 guy. Is sort of what I want to do. But there will be some Republicans running in 2016 who, on the national level, who will be saying, no, I'm against gay marriage, because they know they're still going to get some votes that way.
Well, we can even look at the midterms in 2014 and see some of the Republicans that will run we've had primaries across some of the states, and we've seen the Tea Party just get destroyed in a lot of these primaries that have just happened within the last week or so. And these mainstream Republicans are going to be going up against the Democrats in this area. And surprise, a lot of these mainstream Republicans are actually, they stay pretty silent on the issue of gay marriage because, once again, I think it's still sort of over.
And it's going to be interesting where certain candidates come down. Like Chris Christie kind of dug himself a hole because he was anti-gay marriage in New Jersey in his state. Like he's civil unions, he was kind of soft on it, but like it's going to be interesting where like the Jeb Bushes and that establishment candidate goes, because like saying that they're going to be in favor of gay marriage, like that's not going to happen. Rand Paul is not going to say he's in favor of gay marriage. No Republican.
But they're not going to. But the thing is that they're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, it's going to be
their silence will speak volumes.
Yeah, it's going to be a point. It's going to be a point of emphasis. Like if the candidate is going to be able to skate by without going so anti-gay in the primary. Like, if they're going to be able to sell that, like I'll use Rand Paul as an example. Like, if he's going to be able to sell that he's for traditional marriage, that's his like position that he always says, but he doesn't want to affect any other state. And though he might personally vote against it in his state, he's not against any other state doing what they want. Like, if he's able to skate by with that strategy, that leaves him in a good position in the general election. Like, that is a reasonable position that you might be able to get by. So if that is going to happen, if he's going to be able to get by the Santorums, the Cruzes, and all these guys that are going to be vehemently anti-gay, then it's definitely over. Because if you nominate somebody and he wins, and he's not and he's on the Republican side, and he's not a psycho, then it's a definite change. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think that somebody's going to dig themselves a hole like Mitt Romney with immigration, and they're going to lose the 2016 election. And the last president, by the way, to be anti-gay marriage in this entire country will be Barack Obama in 2008.
And we've had, we're at 19 states now that have been, 19 states and counting, now that have struck down their same-sex marriage bans. And you can imagine by the time 2016 rolls around, yes, now I'm that guy talking about 2016, but how many states will have their gay marriage ban struck down by 2016? It's going to be, there's going to be a majority of states where same-sex marriage is legal, and it will have happened a lot. And so people, I think, the more people that see that, the more comfortable people will be with it. That said, on the other hand, you'll also have your fringe nutters get even louder about it. But once again, it's going to be such a small fringe. There will be undoubtedly some people that will take advantage of that fringe to try and get votes, but I don't think that it's going to be enough for them to win anything other than maybe a primary, a Republican primary, and then they're going to just get swiftly crushed by the Democratic candidate. Unless, of course, your Democratic candidate is just fucking horrible. Which, hey, they're Democrats. It can happen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to both of your points, I think it's really a case that for serious Republican contenders on the national stage of politics, when it comes to the gay rights issues, the less said, the better, as far as they're concerned.
Mhm.
As Sean said, if someone like Rand Paul, the least he can say about it, it will do in the world a good, and that's going to be the case. You'll get the nutters like Ted Cruz who will try to play up that base, and they'll fail because that base and the number of people who are against gay marriage, they are so small, they're so pathetic that on a national stage, no one should be paying any attention to them.
Right, and they're shrinking by the day. Every victory in same-sex marriage, they shrink.
And it's not just the court victories. Like, the polls have completely inverted. 10 years ago, it was 59% oppose and like 36% in favor, because there's always a gap in the poll that's never make it 100. And the poll that I just saw yesterday was exactly 59% in favor and like 34 opposed. So like that 34%, you're not getting an amendment out of that 34%. So the thing is now you're gonna lose on gay marriage if you're against it. But there's 0% chance that you're gonna win being against it, when that used to not be the case.